Feedback is an effective way to keep employees and team members motivated and engaged. I'll talk about using feedback in this video. Hello, I'm Stephen Goldberg. Feedback is an essential and highly effective tool for keeping employees engaged and also motivating them. It can be used also by team members in high-performance teams to motivate each other towards achieving their objectives. It's an underused tool and method, yet it virtually costs nothing to implement except for effort and time. The hardest thing is to shift the mindset into using feedback as an effective tool and making it a habit. There are two types of feedback to use. One is positive, and that can be in the form of praise and recognition, and the other is negative feedback. Negative feedback can be very constructive because it offers an opportunity for training and coaching if you see it in that perspective. Of course, for somebody to receive negative feedback, they need to also receive the positive. It's kind of like a bank or savings account. Every time you give positive feedback, you're making a deposit into someone's emotional bank account. And when you're giving negative feedback, it can feel like there's a negative emotional withdrawal taking place. So you need to balance the two. Hopefully give more positive feedback than negative. So you need to put people into the position where you can praise and recognize them for good performance. You can do that by setting upfront expectations and then coaching them on moving towards those expectations. And along the way, you can praise and recognize them for what they're doing. This really improves people's self-esteem and self-confidence because when people are moving towards higher performance, there's always risk involved. There's risk of failure. And some people are more prone to be careful in taking risks. So you want to encourage people through the praise and feedback system to improve and to continue moving towards that objective. There's effective and ineffective ways to giving feedback. I'll get into more detail on that in future videos. But 2 points to remember is that when giving positive feedback, you want to recognize and praise the attributes, the strengths of the person, what they're using in order to produce that result. And the opposite is true for negative. You want to focus on what the outcome was and what needs to be corrected. So more like redirecting the person into what needs to be done to achieve that result. It's also important to remember that feedback should be timely. In other words, when you see someone performing well, you want to praise and recognize that right away, so the impact is more powerful. The same is true for negative feedback. Negative feedback is usually much more common because we often want to point out what's not working and we forget or we don't have the habit of pointing out what is working. Yet, from the receptor side, it's much more motivational and engaging to be told when you're doing well. So as leaders or as team members in high-performance teams, we want to make that a priority and really develop the habit to look out for what people are doing well, praise and recognize it, and then apply good techniques to giving negative feedback in a constructive manner so it becomes more like training and coaching. So to wrap up, set performance expectations so you can then find opportunities to praise and recognize people and also redirect them through constructive negative feedback. Develop the habit of giving feedback. This is something that you need to make a priority. Make the time and effort to do it. Balance out positive and negative feedback so you're growing the self-esteem and self-confidence of people. This also builds trust in the relationship. Give feedback in a timely manner. This makes it more powerful. And also adjust your feedback to the individual. Get to know your employees, your team members, and get a feel for what type of feedback works best for each person. So hope these tips are useful for you and you start building more engaged and motivated employees and team members through the use of proper feedback. Thanks for listening. I hope you find these tips useful. Here's some videos that are related that you can watch right now. Subscribe to our channel to get news of new videos as they come out. Thanks for listening and talk again soon.